back to Love Wins. I hope this life group study has so far opened your eyes wider to see how love wins in your life through God's love for you, and how love also wins in your life through your love for you too. Today we look at how loving others better can do the same thing. There is one thing about myself and my three grieved girls that there is no doubt about. We are a Disney family. When we lived in Las Vegas, we lived just 3.5 hours away from the happiest place on earth, Disneyland. So it was easy to plan what our next family trip would have to include nearly every year. When Bailey was a toddler, she thought Santa lived in Southern California, not the North Pole, because that's where jolly old St. Nick would always be when we went to Disneyland. Plus, her first memories of my parents visiting us in Southern Nevada were actually times at Disneyland. We even had one trip where my parents and sister were coming to Las Vegas to visit us, but when my mom and sister flew into Las Vegas, we actually rented a minivan and met my dad in Anaheim for the week. Then we returned to Las Vegas so my mom and sister could catch their plane ride home. All of this with an almost 2-month-old Savannah Mae. Crazy? Perhaps. Memorable? Absolutely. My girls would come to lovingly call my parents Disney Grandpa and Disney Grandma. And maybe that's why one year when my dad offered to take my family on a trip of our choice, we chose a cruise. Any guesses on what kind of cruise we went on? Yep, you probably guessed it, a Disney cruise. We've gone to Disneyland and Disney World for summer vacations and for Christmas vacations. We went to Disney on Ice whenever possible with our girls when they were younger, and we have a whole section of our Christmas tree earmarked for Disney ornaments only. I even have a shelf of Disney memories in my office, including a Jedi Mickey Mouse with a working lightsaber. Yeah, we love Disney. But before we were a Disney family, Shammy and I were a Disney couple. I already mentioned in week 1 how we held hands for the first time while watching the movie Aladdin. And when we went on our honeymoon, we knew exactly where we wanted to go. Disneyland, of course. So when it came time to ask Shammy to marry me, I had an idea to include a little bit of a Disney spin to the experience. Besides the obvious gift of an engagement ring, I had another gift in mind. A few months before the day I proposed, I gave Shammy this lion cub stuffed animal. Now, for those unaware of who this stuffed animal represents, it's the lioness named Nala, who was to one day marry the young lion who would be king named Simba from the Disney animated movie, The Lion King. Right here. You see, these stuffed animals have magnetic noses that touch each other. So I told Shammy that on the day I planned to propose to her, I would give her this Simba stuffed animal to complete the pair. God's love works like this too. When God proposes to us, He also gives us a gift. And that gift is Jesus. But there's another gift He gives. The other gift He gives us is love for others. And this love should happen in our lives, through our lives, when we choose to live for Jesus. And much like the magnets inside the noses of these two stuffed animals, this love for others should attract people to Jesus through us, not repel them from Jesus because of us. What does this look like played out in real life, though? Well, there are many examples in the Bible of people showing love to others. But what I want to focus on are some verses that point us towards active love for others. They are found in the 3rd chapter of the letter Paul wrote to the followers of Jesus in the city of Colossae, which was located in the heart of what is now the country of Turkey. Here's verses 1 and 2. So, if you're serious about living this new resurrection life with Christ, act like it. Pursue the things over which Christ presides. Don't shuffle along, eyes to the ground, absorbed with things right in front of you. Look up and be alert to what is going on around Christ. That's where the action is. See things from His perspective. Those last few words are so good. Look up. The real action is going on around you. You just need to see from Jesus' perspective. But what is His perspective? How did Jesus look at things? Or how does He look at things might be the better question. It's kind of like these glasses. My vision without them is blurry. I'm unable to really see what I need to see without them. But once I put them back on, everything becomes crystal clear. And my blurry vision has been replaced with a new, clearer view of things. Looking at others with Jesus' vision is that new view we need to have of others so that we can love others the way Jesus wants us to. Paul's not done though. He continues in verse 3. Your old life is dead. Your new life, which is your real life, even though invisible to spectators, is with Christ in God. He is your life. This tells us our lives that we have after Jesus comes into it should not look like the lives we had before Jesus was a part of it. But what is that life like through Jesus? Well, it's a new life focused on love. Paul puts it this way a few verses later to those same readers. So, chosen by God for this new life of love, dress in the wardrobe God picked out for you. Compassion, kindness, humility, quiet strength, discipline. Be even-tempered, content with second place, quick to forgive an offense. Forgive as quickly and completely as the Master forgave you. And regardless of what else you put on, wear love. It's your basic all-purpose garment. Never be without it. So not only does loving others give us a fresh perspective to see people the way Jesus did, it also gives us a new way to be seen by others. It's like going to the mall and being able to pick out a whole new wardrobe. Which reminds me of the TV show on TLC called What Not to Wear. Some unassuming person is taken by surprise by the host and whisked away. Once they arrive at the show studio, they are given the opportunity to receive a whole new wardrobe. But to do that, they have to agree to get rid of all their current clothing. And once they agree, they then get to shop under some new guidelines. This is what happens when we begin to live a new life of love for others. Simply said, we look at others differently, and we are looked at by others differently. Things like compassion, forgiveness, and humility, they matter more than getting even, being first, or proving others wrong. This is true even with those we don't like to be around either. Jesus said it this way in Matthew chapter 5. You have heard the law that says, love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I say, love your enemies. Pray for those who persecute you. It also says this, if you love only those who love you, what reward is there for that? Even corrupt tax collectors do that much. If you are kind only to your friends, how are you different from anyone else? Even pagans do that. Now, I know that's not easy, but that's why we need to look at others, enemies included, through Jesus' eyes, and we need to be seen by others differently too. If we don't see with Jesus' perspective and don't change the way we are seen by others, then we will actually repel people away from God's love rather than attract them to Jesus. And when that happens, it keeps others from ever truly experiencing the love God has for them, all because we chose not to show love to others the way Jesus showed love to us. But if we do change our view of others and change others' view of us, then the one thing Jesus wants most of all will happen. Love wins. Now take some time in your life group and dig a little deeper into how you can effectively love others with great value. And see you next week for our final week of Love Wins.